Hello everyone and welcome to my Sister Wives For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Janelle Brown's world changed the moment she walked away from Coyote Brown, but what most fans didn't realize at the time was just how deeply the financial wounds ran, how shockingly empty her pockets were when the dust finally settled, and how the truth about Coyote Pass, those 14 acres that were once supposed to represent hope, unity, and the future of the plural family, ended up becoming the most painful reminder that sometimes the biggest heartbreaks aren't emotional but financial. For years, viewers watched Janelle work tirelessly toward the shared dream that the Brown family sold to the world, a sprawling, self-sustaining communal homestead where all the wives and children could live side by side in peace. Janelle wasn't just the wife who tolerated the dream. She was the backbone of it, the planner, the budgeter, the believer who took that property and envisioned a fully built compound where grandchildren could run, where holidays could bring the family together, where the Browns could finally stop running from state to state and start building something real. But in a twist that still feels like betrayal to many fans, the shocking truth is that when Janelle left the marriage, she didn't walk away with a fair share of that vision. She walked away with nothing. Not a penny from Coyote Pass. Not a slice of the land she helped pay for. Nothing but the painful realization that she had spent years investing in a dream that was never meant to include her in the end. The deeper you dig into the financial mess surrounding Coyote Pass, the clearer it becomes that the property wasn't just a plot of land. It was a silent battlefield where loyalties shifted, promises cracked, and Cody's true priorities were revealed in the most brutal way. For years, Coyote preached unity, insisting that everyone contribute equally to the family pot, claiming that every dollar was for the collective future. But behind the scenes, it became painfully obvious that Robin and her children were being positioned as the long-term beneficiaries of the family's earnings while the other wives, Janelle included, were treated like temporary participants in Cody's long, ever-changing vision of family life. When Janelle invested her money into Coyote Pass, she did so believing that she was investing in a forever home. She didn't anticipate that the man she once trusted would one day act as though the financial sacrifices she made were insignificant, as if her contributions didn't matter, as if he could simply brush aside decades of shared responsibility and pretend the land belonged to someone else. The real turning point, the moment everything snapped, came when fans learned about the secret financial reorganizing that Coyote and Robin quietly put in motion. Long before Janelle emotionally separated from Coyote, long before the public knew the marriage was disintegrating, paperwork was being rearranged, shares were being shifted, and legal positions were being strengthened in one very particular direction, toward Robin and her kids. It was the most devastating revelation for Janelle, who had always been financially responsible, always careful, always thinking about the future. She trusted that the land she helped pay for would serve as her retirement, her security, her reward for years spent supporting Cody's dreams, even when those dreams took a toll on her own happiness. Instead, she found herself in a position that no one expected, a woman in her 50s suddenly forced to start over, rebuilding from scratch, while the man she supported for nearly 30 years paraded around claiming he was the wronged one. And then came the bombshell, the moment that made the entire Sister Wives community erupt. Janelle revealed in a heartbreaking, raw admission that when she left the marriage, she had nothing in her name. Not the house. Not the land. Not even access to the family account she had once relied on. Her years of financial loyalty had resulted in her being stranded with no home, no property, and no guarantee that she would ever see a dollar of the money that went into Coyote Pass. The sheer audacity stunned fans. How could a woman who contributed so much for so long end up so empty-handed? How could Coyote claim fairness when the math didn't add up? How could Robin quietly benefit while Janelle, who arguably sacrificed the most for the family's stability, was left with nothing but regret and frustration? The most shocking part is that even as Janelle struggled to regain her financial footing, Coyote continued spinning a narrative that painted her as irresponsible, accusing her of mismanaging money, claiming she had unrealistic expectations. This was the same woman who kept the family afloat in Las Vegas, the same woman who worked nonstop to support her children, the same woman who lived in an RV to be closer to the dream of building on Coyote Pass. Janelle was never the problem. The problem was that Cody couldn't fathom a world where accountability applied to him. He wanted the land, the power, the control, but he didn't want to acknowledge the financial sacrifices that made it possible for him to stand on that land in the first place. He wanted to be the visionary without doing the groundwork, and Janelle's loyalty made her the perfect target for financial erasure. But perhaps the most heartbreaking twist of all is that Janelle didn't fight back, not the way fans expected her to. Instead, she stepped aside with quiet dignity, refusing to drag Robin or Cody into court, refusing to expose every document, every financial detail, every moment she was sidelined or ignored. She could have destroyed the narrative. She could have exposed the receipts. She could have made the world see every penny she poured into Coyote Pass. But she chose peace over chaos, stability over spectacle, even if it meant walking away with nothing. For some, this made her look weak. For others, it proved her strength. But no matter how you view it, the truth remains. Janelle Brown deserved so much better than what she got. And yet, despite the devastation, something incredible happened. Janelle rebuilt herself. While Cody and Robin continued sinking deeper into a financial spiral of massive mortgages, overdue taxes, and questionable spending habits, Janelle found a new sense of independence. She didn't have Coyote Pass, but she had something more valuable: clarity. The clarity that comes from finally seeing someone's true colors. The clarity that comes from realizing you don't need a man or a piece of land to define your worth. The clarity that comes from understanding that sometimes losing everything is the first step toward finding yourself again. Fans watched Janelle transform from a soft-spoken, compromise-heavy wife into a woman who wasn't afraid to speak up, set boundaries, and call out hypocrisy. She stopped protecting Cody's ego. She stopped pretending the family's finances were fair. She stopped letting herself be the one who sacrificed the most for the least return. And while she didn't win Coyote Pass, she won something that may ultimately matter more: a renewed sense of purpose, a life she could shape for herself, and the knowledge that she was strong enough to survive the financial betrayal that could have crushed her. Meanwhile, the truth about Coyote Pass remains more shocking than ever. The land is still undeveloped. The family is still fractured. The dream is still dead. And the money? The money Janelle contributed, the money she earned, the money she expected to one day translate into property ownership? It's gone. Absorbed into a property she may never step foot on again. The land that was supposed to symbolize unity now symbolizes loss. And every time viewers see an aerial shot of those acres, empty and untouched, they're reminded of the injustice Janelle endured. Cody may claim the land as a victory. He may insist that everything was divided fairly. He may double down on his belief that loyalty equals obedience. But the fans know the truth. The viewers know the truth. And most importantly, Janelle knows the truth. She left with nothing, not because she didn't contribute, but because the man she trusted never planned for her to be part of the final picture. In the end, the shocking truth about Coyote Pass isn't just about money. It's about loyalty, betrayal, and the painful realization that sometimes the people you sacrifice the most for are the ones who walk away with the rewards. Janelle didn't lose Coyote Pass because she failed. She lost it because she believed in a dream that was never designed to include her long-term. But now, standing on her own 2 feet, with fans rallying behind her and a future she can finally shape for herself, Janelle Brown proves that leaving with nothing doesn't mean you've been defeated. Sometimes, leaving with nothing means you're finally free. Yet, even as the world rallied behind her, the fallout from Coyote Pass continued to loom over Janelle like a heavy shadow, a constant reminder of the years she spent believing she was building a future that simply didn't exist. Every time new information surfaced about the land, documents, tax records, quiet changes in ownership percentages, fans felt the sting on her behalf. How could someone as dedicated, organized, and financially responsible as Janelle be the one left with an empty bag, while Cody and Robin position themselves to hold the deeds? The answer lies not in numbers, but in manipulation, in the subtle erosion of power that took place over decades. Janelle trusted the family structure more than anyone. She believed in fairness, transparency, and shared responsibility. She believed the family pot was meant for the family, not a single couple. And, tragically, that belief is what made her financially vulnerable in the end. She didn't build safeguards because she didn't believe she needed them. She didn't demand legal protections because she assumed a man she supported for nearly 30 years would never financially abandon her. That trust ended up costing her everything. But while the financial injustice is infuriating, what makes the situation even more heartbreaking is how effortlessly Coyote dismissed Janelle's contributions once she stopped agreeing with him. The moment Janelle began asserting herself, refusing to follow his pandemic rules, questioning Robin's influence, calling out his favoritism, Coyote's narrative flipped. Suddenly, she was the problem. Suddenly, she didn't contribute enough. Suddenly, she wasn't loyal. It was as if decades of shared sacrifice evaporated overnight. During their heated confrontations, viewers could see it in Janelle's eyes. The shock of realizing she was no longer seen as a partner, but as an obstacle to Robin's comfort and Coyote's control. That emotional betrayal carried just as much weight as the financial one, and it fueled the painful truth she had to accept. Staying would have cost her even more than leaving with nothing. And while Janelle faced the harsh reality of rebuilding her entire life from scratch, Coyote and Robin doubled down on their narrative, insisting the family finances were always transparent and equal. But the receipts tell a different story. Robin's mansion, bought with family funds. Robin's endless access to resources. Robin's position as the only legally recognized wife, giving her legal protection none of the other wives had. It becomes painfully clear that the structure of the family wasn't merely imbalanced. It was strategically arranged to protect Robin and Coyote while leaving the other wives financially exposed. Christine escaped with enough to start over. Mary at least kept her business. But Janelle, the woman who funneled years of income into Coyote Pass, the woman who lived modestly and saved diligently, ended up losing the most. And yet, unbelievably, she is the one who carries herself with the most grace. Today, Janelle's strength has become her greatest wealth. She may have walked away without land or money, but she walked away with her dignity intact, something Coyote can't claim after the truth about Coyote Pass spilled into the public eye. Fans now see the property not as a dream, but as a monument to broken promises, a physical symbol of how the Brown family collapsed under the weight of inequality and favoritism. And while Coyote still clings desperately to the idea that he was a good leader, the empty acres of Coyote Pass tell a different story, one where dreams wither, families fracture, and the people who gave the most end up with the least. Janelle's journey from financial devastation to emotional liberation is a reminder that starting over isn't a setback, it's a turning point. She may not have the acres she paid for. She may not have the house she was promised. She may not have the retirement security she earned. But she has something Coyote can never take from her: the power of truth, the support of millions of fans, and the freedom to build a future on her own terms rather than a dream someone else controlled. In losing Coyote Pass, Janelle gained something far greater: a fresh start unburdened by lies, manipulation, and financial betrayal. And sometimes, that kind of freedom is worth more than any piece of land.